Let's say that somebody was coming into our church and they're black.
I'm not a pastor, but I feel like that would be a preferable scenario.
Would they be eligible for membership in our church?
Please say yes.
Yes, they of course they would. They'd be eligible for membership in our church.
Oh, thank God. I think the video's over now.
But would they be permitted to participate in, embody, and practice what I would call black culture generally in our church?
Oh, damn.
The answer is absolutely not.
I'm guessing you're going to elaborate.
Why? Because the characteristics that mark black culture as a generalization, in the same way Paul's talking about Cretans on Crete.
How long do you think he was waiting to call black people Cretans?
They are evil, murderous, violent, bestial people.
Bro, you have a dead rodent on your face.
They steal, they kill, they destroy. They are sinful to the core.
Are we listening to this?
They have besetting sins that are like fatherlessness, sexual immorality. They molest children at a high rate.
We're going to talk about black people molesting children at a high rate. You're a Christian pastor.
All of any criminal statistic that you could look at, almost pretty much without exception, they excel at them.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren.
And I'm Maureen.
Right. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about a pastor called Brian Solveig. Who is he? In case you don't know of him, he's been going viral because of the remarks he made about black congregants in his church. And let me just say, Americans are not happy about this, and they came out on the internet to express themselves. But much as there's those people who are angry about his words, there's plenty of them who support Pastor Brian.
Right, and this is just a very sad situation because given the type of person who is saying these words, right, his own people are the ones who will be sending missionaries to Africa and wherever else in the world to try and spread the word of God. And the very same Bible preaches about having inclusion in the system and whatnot. But what are we talking about, guys? Let's watch what we prepared for you today, and then we come back and talk about it. You can also let us know what you think about this very same video, and also consider subscribing if you're new to our channel. Let's watch.
This video goes on for a while, but I'm going to stop there. I just need you to see what kind of things are coming up in this country. That guy that you just saw is this guy, Pastor Brian Solveig. He is the pastor of Refuge Church in Ogden, Utah. And he's a compatriot of this man, Doug Wilson, a pastor in Moscow, Idaho. I say pastor, but it's like a cult situation, you know? And you probably recognize Doug Wilson. You remember Doug Wilson, the pastor that Pete Hegseth platformed a few months ago, who was saying that women shouldn't be able to vote? This is what Christian nationalism is. This is what Christian nationalism wants. These are Christian nationalists. These guys are only going to get louder. They used to be relegated to like little corners of the internet, but they are now getting platformed by the Secretary of War. Like...
Evangelical Christianity has always been rooted in racism and always been rooted in white supremacy.
Somebody was coming into our church and they're black, and would they be eligible for membership in our church? Yes, they of course they would. They'd be eligible for membership in our church. But would they be permitted to participate in, embody, and practice what I would call black culture generally in our church? The answer is absolutely not.
With all of the evangelicals using Charlie Kirk as a martyr.
Call Charlie Kirk a modern American martyr for the faith.
Is due to the white supremacist ideas that he upheld.
Why? Because the characteristics that mark black culture as a generalization in evil, murderous, violent, bestial people. They steal, they kill, they destroy. They are sinful to the core. They have besetting sins that are like fatherlessness, sexual immorality. They molest children at a high rate. All of any criminal statistic that you could look at, almost pretty much without exception.
When I think white culture, I think genocidal, colonial, racist. I think mass destruction of nations, culture, places, and things, theft of people's ideas, people's culture, people's things. I think the highest rates of child sexual assault are white men. Bestiality is white men. In family incest are white people. But the list can go on about how you're using statistics incorrectly and just lying and being very racist towards black people while welcoming black people into your white church for white people and want black people to be white. It is insane to me that you can be and say you are a Christian and a man of God and be a pastor. You're a pastor and you're coming online and you're spewing hatred, racism, and just straight up fallacies about black people, all while upholding mass shootings, violence, sexual assault, mass theft, destruction. The list goes on of what white culture has done to the world and what white people continuously do to the world. But you want to vilify black people on your platform because you are reaching out to the sentiment of white racist people on the right in this country. Because, like I said, white evangelical Christianity is a form of religious extremism. And that's what's at the forefront and the top of this country. America is a religious extremist country in which white people get to be extremists. And it's just okay. You get to come on and espouse this hate, this hateful message. I want to drive home, guys. This is a pastor. This is a pastor. This is a pastor. So a pastor coming on and not being very Christ-like is not any form of Christianity that's real. These people are in a cult. This is a cult. This is a cult. This is why the Proud Boys, the KKK, all these people come out of this version of Christianity because it's not Christianity.
They destroy, they are...
And I don't want to hear we took him out of context. Because now your little mini Kirks are coming out of the woodwork. I don't want to hear we took him out of context. Because he said what he said. Still killing what? So when someone says that they're black and Christian, because y'all don't like our culture, y'all don't like us as a people, but y'all claim to be Christian. Because y'all are love to go pick on the homosexuals, go pick on everybody else who have abortions and all this type of stuff, but you won't deal with your inherent racism. Oh, we can fight every other sin, but let's not talk about the racism. Yeah, okay. These are y'all pastors. But racism is a social construct, and it's not real. Really? Okay.
Let's say that somebody was coming into our church and they're black, and would they be eligible for membership in our church? Yes, of course they would. They'd be eligible for membership in our church. They'd be permitted to participate in, embody, and practice what I would call black culture generally in our church. The answer is absolutely not. Why? Because the characteristics that mark black culture as a generalization, in the same way Paul's talking about Cretans on Crete, they are evil, murderous, violent, bestial people. They steal, they kill, they destroy. They are sinful to the core.
They see y'all as black first. That's what his congregation, not only him, his whole congregation said that black people are black first before they're Christian. And then they took it a step further that because you're black, you're a product of sin. You are sin in the flesh. And let's not forget, the people that came up with these Jim Crow laws that say, hey, you can't drink from the same water fountain as us, were also Christians. Do you think they seen you as Christian before black when you went up to that water fountain? No, the same people that threw these picnics and invited all their white tea neighbors, friends, and families that came from towns far away to see black people get strange fruited, they were Christians too. Those white tea men and white sheets, those was Christians too. Do you think they was going door to door asking people, hey, are you Christian or black first? If you say you Christian, we can't rope you up. Nah. And if you notice, they only practice biblical principles when it comes to their own kind. That girl got up there and said, hey, we forgive you of your sin. If he didn't share the same skin that she was in, they would have been like, white tea men, fight back. And Mormons didn't even accept black people into their religion. So that just recently started. Let's not talk about them.
I love the Christian beliefs that are being magnified due to recent events. Let's go over this one.
The answer is absolutely not. Why? Because the characteristics that mark black culture as a generalization, in the same way Paul's talking about Cretans on Crete, they are evil, murderous, violent, bestial people.
Ah, yes, you're so right. That's why we thank God every day that your FBI is doing such a great job at extinguishing all of that, right? So this would be part 2 of the prowling black ideology that the FBI got rid of. Part 1 is in the description. I pledge allegiance to my black people. I pledge to develop my mind and body to the greatest extent possible. I will learn all that I can in order to give my best to my people in their struggle for liberation. I will keep myself physically fit, building a strong body free from substances which weaken me and make me less capable of protecting myself, my family, and my black brothers and sisters. I will unselfishly share my knowledge and understanding with them in order to bring about change more quickly. I will discipline myself to direct my energies thoughtfully and constructively rather than wasting them in idle hatred. You could learn something from that. I will train myself never to hurt or allow others to harm my black brothers and sisters, for I recognize that we need every black man, woman, and child to be physically, mentally, and psychologically strong. These principles I pledge to practice daily and to teach them to others in order to unite my people. Yes, black culture, so scary. Thank God the FBI got rid of that.
So guys, welcome back. Let us know what you think about the videos we just played you. You know, it's really quite sad to hear a religious leader speak like this. It's like they're camouflaging in, let's preach and practice unity. And on this, from the side of their mouth, they're talking about how we should not welcome this group of people because they're like this and that. And I feel like from statistics itself, already you can see the deceptive words he was using when he was relaying his message. Him talking about how the Black community is a fatherless, it's a community of many fatherless children, and him talking about the Black community having a lot of PDs against children, you know. And I'm asking myself, these are the very same things the white community practices, and he's trying to push it on Black people as if white people cannot be accountable for what they do out there. And just to prove this, it's just the documentaries, how many documentaries out there come out speaking about white men who've been arrested with files in their phones, if you know what I'm talking about. Compare that statistics to the ones from the Black community, and then we'll know the crimes he accuses Black people of committing, who really does commit them in larger numbers.
Right, and then, you know, they usually say you only need one truth or one thing that looks like a truth in order to make other people believe that the rest of the lies you tell are also true, right? Because he has used a statistic which is not all the way wrong, that in the Black communities there's a lot of kids growing up without fathers, right? Not only in America, even here in Africa, there's a lot of kids who are growing up without their fathers, right? And he's using this fact to try and blame Black community for the sins that white communities practice in a major way, you know. And this is what they've done time and again, and is either try to overturn the truth or completely erase the truth of what their community is and blame it all to Black people. Why am I saying this? There's also another story, to be frank with you, when he said that the Black community practices the big B word, right? And there is a man who went viral on the internet because he wanted to marry his cat. And when the interviewer asked him why he wanted to marry his cat, it was a white man. He said because he strongly felt like his cat was in love with him, and himself he identified as a cat. So
a lot of the things that happen, to be quite honest, guys, I feel like a lot of the cultures that we adopt from society is coming from the white people, right? There's a lot of culture that they influence. They shouldn't be walking around like they're not to be blamed for this. They plundered, they stole from people. Like literally, if you look at the history of who stole what, that is why they had a 400-year head starts against other communities. And now you're looking at someone here who's talking about we are welcoming Black members in our church, but what we won't allow them to do is practice the Black culture. And a big question I want to ask today, guys, is what do you consider as a Black culture? You can just respond to it on the comment section, because I feel like the word or the terms Black culture has been widely misrepresented, and this is just one good example of it. When you're talking about Black culture, I feel like this is such an ambiguous word for you to boil it down to crime, for you to boil it down to fatherless children, for you to boil it down to Black Americans going to jail. You know, that is not what Black culture represents. But I feel like this is the word that has been mostly been used to, you know.
And when the priest says that Black Americans or Black people are only allowed to, in their church as members and nothing else, they can't contribute in other way, you know. This makes me feel like he almost wants Black Americans or Black people to be grateful of the fact that he is even considering them as members. And another thing is, I feel like the only reason why he is allowing Black Americans into his church to that capacity as members only is because he wants to up his offering, you know, on Sunday. He wants to have so much offerings. You know how some pastors make this a business? That is the only way, because they are interested in the Black American money. And other than that, they're not going to allow Black Americans to partake in any other role in the church.
And I feel like I pity I really pity the black person who'll be attending his church, because at the end of the day, tell me what he said that makes you feel comfortable enough for you to attend his sermons. You know, why would you go to a place where, because from how he speaks, it's like he has a bigger audience of white people, right? So imagine being in a sermon of this man, and then he talks about the black community the way he's doing right now with the two people in front of the camera, him and the interviewer, and he's talking about the black community like this. So you imagine being in his church with his many white congregants, and you're like the few black people in his church, and he's talking that way, and these other congregants are throwing their eyes over to you. Wouldn't you look like the person he's describing in the eyes of the congregants? Already they have decided who the black community is. So why are you going there to prove what exactly, you know?
Right. So my opinion is, what I strongly suggest is mingle with those who wanna freely mingle with you. And he has already shown that his church is drawing the line when it comes to some certain aspect of this mingling. So what the black community can do in that area is either come up with your own church or look for other churches that freely want to mingle with black people. But going to this church, as Maren has said, is gonna be a crazy idea for a black person who will find himself there knowingly or unknowingly.
Right, and I feel like in America there must be a lot of racist white folks, because for a preacher to be bold enough, like we are living in very strange times, guys, for a preacher to be bold enough to come and audaciously speak these words, knowing everybody, like it doesn't matter, this is the age where people go viral for the tiniest things they do on the internet. So for you to boldly come out and speak the way you did on the internet, knowing that you could wake up going viral, and he didn't feel like there were gonna be any kind of repercussions. I feel like he was speaking to people who were like-minded and people who support what he says. And right now, I feel like such people are really getting bold, and to some kind of extent, they could be maybe not fearing the repercussions, because they know there's a lot of them that exist out there.
Right, and this is not the first time he's been found in a controversy, of course. On Twitter, he's often gone under fire for saying such like crazy things, and I'm even wondering if this is not his first time. How come he still has a podium to preach on? How comes he still has a following? How comes he's still being called a role model to somebody in the church? That only means or goes to show that if the church that he preaches doesn't have any problem with it, to some degree, they maybe do agree with him.
Right. What I'd like to know is what he used to do before he became a preacher, because I don't believe that he was born knowing that he was going to become a preacher at some point. So because they normally say, right, let he who has no sins cast the first stone, right? And for him to cast these heavy, big stones at the black community, he must have lived a righteous life, right? So I would really like to know the kind of person he used to be. Has he never stolen anything? Like, for example, personally, I know when I was younger in school, there's a pencil or a pen I stole, you know, so nobody is without sin. And I would really like to know what was the kind of life he led before he became a preacher. You know, you can find that all these crimes that he's talking about, the black community being prevalent in the black community, perhaps he has participated in most of them. We just never know. The information is not out there. Allegedly, I'm just saying, you know, it's an example.
Right, and just as I said when this episode was starting, I did think that the Bible they preach about and the Bible they read to most people does not support exclusion or something like that, you know. And even in the Bible they say they believe in, even Jesus mingled with very odd characters, but their church is so special that they want to segregate black people because of their black skin, and also because of the stereotype that most of the white community share, but is being pushed onto the black community. But what do I say?
That's a good one. Their church is so special that they cannot mingle with some characters. You know, it's the picture he's painting out there, because it's like, you're welcome so long as you don't. You know, it's like for him, black culture only boils down to the things he described, right? And he's like totally not allowed for black people to come and practice their black culture. And as I said, it's very important for you to know that black culture in different parts mean different things, because there's a place in Asia where they celebrate black culture. To them, black culture is the vibrant fashion style. To them, black culture is the vibrant hairstyles that black Americans have. That is the Afro. Asians who have straight hairs are practicing this so-called black culture that is frowned upon so much that has not been mentioned by the white pastor, right? But guys,
and the saddest thing is, for those who don't know better, or for those who haven't looked into the American system to know what crimes are committed by what groups of people, for those people who don't have the internet but somehow get their hands to this, let's say like a kid in Asia or a kid in Africa, when they hear a pastor, with the fact that he is even a pastor, say that in the black community there's a lot of the B word, in the black community there's a lot of PD who harm children, they're gonna believe this nonsense that is being spewed on the internet.
Right, just look at the statistics. Google is our friend sometimes. These things you can verify before we start believing them. But unfortunately, we live in a world where there's a lot of flocks of sheep out there who just follow words because somebody in a powerful position has said that is statistically true. But guys, let us know what you think about this episode on the comment section. Also consider subscribing if it's your first time here, and we'll catch you on our next episode. One fight at a time, one foot forward, day by day, And I don't know, I just thank God that the internet is there for people to be able to make their own decisions and for people to be able to find this kind of information, whether it's true or not. The internet is there.
Right, so let us know what you think about this episode, and also consider subscribing if you're new to our channel, and we'll see you on our next episode.